The Giannis Antetokounmpo reports are heating up, and now we have a major update from an NBA insider that suggests that if Giannis ever asks out of Milwaukee, that one of the top destinations that he'd be looking at would be the New York Knicks. We're going to break down this full report, and we're also going to look at how we got here and what Giannis recently stated about signing an extension with Milwaukee. We're going to break down all of this and so much more today. Let's get started. According to an NBA insider, the New York Knicks may be one of the top destinations for Giannis. Mark Stein, an NBA insider, reported the following. According to Mark Stein, the Lakers and the Knicks are potential landing spots for Giannis if he leaves Milwaukee. The Lakers and the Knicks are already being mentioned as franchises presumed to interest Giannis Antetokounmpo down the road if he does decide to move on from Milwaukee, which just made a slew of moves, re-signing Chris Middleton, a very close friend to Giannis, and Brook Lopez, and replaced Mike Budenholzer with another head coach in Adrian Griffin, all in the hopes to try to appease its face of the franchise in Giannis. This is a major update we have here from Mark Stein, because now we know if Giannis were to ask out of Milwaukee, one of the two places he'd be looking at would be the New York Knicks. And you have to think, why would he be looking at the Knicks as one of the top destinations? Well, one of the main reasons has to be the market, because the New York market is one of the top markets in all of the NBA. And what's the second biggest market? Los Angeles, the Lakers. So that's why I believe the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Lakers are two of the top teams being mentioned for Giannis if he leaves Milwaukee, because the market is so large. But not only that, if Giannis comes to New York and makes the New York Knicks a title contender, which they would be if he comes to the New York Knicks, depending on who you have to give up in a trade of that caliber to get Giannis. If you can add Giannis to this Knicks team, keep Jalen Brunson, perhaps keep RJ Barrett, and I know I'm being greedy here, but also keep Quentin Grimes, and maybe you trade the rest of them up, and you're going to have to give up every single pick, I think, in that type of trade for Giannis. If you could retain all of those assets potentially in a Giannis trade, and you're able to build out the roster appropriately around who you have left, then absolutely, I would pick the New York Knicks as one of the teams to make the NBA Finals and potentially win it all, because that's how good and how impactful Giannis is. He's a former two-time MVP of the league. He is one of the best players, if not the best player in the entire NBA today. So if Giannis is available, and if this report, this major report here from Mark Stein, an NBA insider, is to be true and to be believed, then the New York Knicks need to shift all their eyes and their focus, not only on Joel Embiid, but they need to keep one eye on Joel and one eye on Giannis. Because if these comments and these updates from Mark Stein are to be believed, then absolutely the New York Knicks have to do this. Because Giannis is like Joel Embiid, only he's an even better player than Joel Embiid. And that's saying something. So the New York Knicks have to make sure if Giannis is on the table, they move every single chip they have available to try to get him. Because Giannis is a once-in-a-lifetime player that you only get a shot at one time. And you have to do it at the best time possible, and you have to make sure you maximize your attempt to get this man on your team. If this is true and he already wants to play with the Knicks, and he's already entertaining what it could potentially be like to play for the New York Knicks in the market, the mecca of the Garden in New York City, then we have to make sure we sell him on this if even the smallest thing goes wrong in Milwaukee. the New York Knicks are going to have to jump on it. Just like how they're looking at Philadelphia right now, waiting to pounce on if anything happens right there with Joel Embiid, they have to have that same fire and energy with Giannis. Now, I know the connections aren't as strong with Giannis as they are with Embiid, but you know what? He's the best player in the game today. He is a former two-time MVP of the league. You need a wall, not a player, a wall to stop him. And if he's driving to the basket, he is damn near unstoppable. Jalen Brunson and Giannis together already sounds box office. Imagine if you keep RJ and Grimes and you add it to that. Imagine if you can create a nice bench around that. We're talking about a team that could contend for a finals chip each and every season for years. But a lot of fans have been asking, what comments did Giannis make about his extension that landed us here? Why are we speaking about Giannis potentially being available for the New York Knicks in a few years or in the near future? Well, this is all due and stemming from Giannis making specific comments about his extension in a sit-down interview that he did with the New York Times. If we pull up the exact quote, this is what he stated to the New York Times about extending with the Bucks. Not going to be this year, even next year. I don't know. If I don't know that everybody's on the same page, going for a championship, sacrifice time away from their families like I do, I'm not signing. That entire quote led to a number of articles being written about a number of teams potentially adding Giannis to their squad because they thought this comment meant that he's potentially leaving the Bucks in the near future. And you can definitely take that from what he said, because he basically stated, I'm not signing an extension unless I know everybody in this organization is committed to winning, committed to going to get a championship, and committed to being in that dance each and every year. Because if you're not, or I feel like you're not, I'm out. Because for me, it's about championships. You know why that sounds familiar? Joel Embiid basically said that as well too a few weeks ago, where he said he just wants to win a championship, whether that's in Philadelphia or somewhere else. And this sounds like Giannis's version of that. And if you're taking it the same way you took Joel Embiid's comments, then I think we have to talk about it in the same way. Because those comments from Embiid are what stirred up a lot of the talks about him going to New York. And now these comments from Giannis are what's stirring up a lot of these remarks and a lot of these sources indicating that if he were to leave Milwaukee, he has destinations in mind. And two of those destinations are the major markets in the NBA today, in Los Angeles with the Lakers and in New York with the Knicks. And that's something to say, because that means he's looking out for his own brand as well too. Because if he goes to those major markets, either one, his name, even though it's box office already and you don't think it could get any higher, I promise you, he goes to a major market, his name is going to go past even what you thought it could go past. Because that's what major markets do. It takes whatever you have, it puts a rocket on you, and it shoots you even further beyond what you thought you could be. If he's like MJ in Greece, if he comes to New York and helps New York win a championship, he'll be MJ for New York. That is the power of winning in New York. Yeah, being the savior of New York, a lot of pressure with that. Don't get me wrong. Winning in New York, there is nothing like winning and bringing the glory, the pride back to New York. And the way you do that is by making New York relevant, making New York a contender for a chip each and every year. You add Giannis to this Knicks team, and you don't have to gut the team to get him. And I know I'm saying that and begging in a way, because if you add Giannis, you're likely gutting the team because he's the best player in the league. So any GM with his right mind is going to ask for everything. But let's just say you were able to keep some pieces. A Giannis and Brunson-led team with a few other key pieces, that automatically, for me, puts the Knicks in the finals talk each and every year. Depending on the pieces they have left around them, that will decide whether I think the Knicks are an actual threat for contention at the chip each and every year. But the fact that they're even in the conversation realistically each and every year goes to show you the impact and that potential tandem and my belief in them and what they could do, not only for the Knicks, but how they could run roughshod over the league. I think it would be amazing to see. However, this is a waiting game. The New York Knicks are patiently building this roster out, and they are not going to disturb what they're building unless it's for a super megastar talent and it's at the right price that they can afford and they're willing to part with. Because if all of that is on the table and it makes sense, best believe the New York Knicks will absolutely get that star, whoever it may be. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.